I was falsely accused by my own family, cast out at 18, and it turned me into something I can never forgive myself for. I was born in 1939. My name's Frank, and I grew up in a small farming town in Illinois. My parents were James and Laura, and I was the third of four brothers. Charles was the oldest, then Jacob, then me, and Adam was the youngest. My father went off to fight in the Second World War when I was just a boy. And like so many men of his generation, he never came back. We got a letter, not a coffin. That was it. My mother was strong, stronger than I'll ever be, but she was also human. In the late 40s, she met Walter, a veteran himself. He was quiet, disciplined, and brought with him a daughter named Isabella from his previous marriage. Suddenly, our household doubled in size. We weren't rich. Hell, we were poor as dirt, but we worked hard, all of us, side by side on that farm. For a while, even with the hardships, it felt like a family. School was another story. By the time I hit my teens, I was struggling to fit in. My best friend, David, turned on me after some stupid disagreement, and soon he and his pack of friends made my life hell. They'd shove me in the halls, dump my books, call me names I don't care. To repeat, I felt like a punching bag. The only thing that kept me afloat was my brothers, especially Charles. He was quick to throw fists at anyone who messed with me. For years, he was my shield. And then, in 1957, everything shattered. One Saturday morning, I was shaken awake by my mother screaming in my face. The whole house was chaos. Isabella sobbing, Walter shouting, my brothers storming around. Charles ripped me out of bed, threw me to the ground, and started beating me while yelling, "You disgust me! What have you done?" Bloodied and terrified, I begged to know what was happening. My mother's voice cut through the madness. "You know what you did. I never want to see you again." Then Walter's words sealed my fate. "We don't want a rapist in this house." It was like the air left the room. I couldn't comprehend it. I begged, I pleaded, I swore I had done nothing, but they wouldn't hear me. Charles dragged me to the door and threw me out into the dirt. I tried to come back inside, but he beat me bloody again. His face twisted with hatred and told me to get out. At 18, I was homeless, abandoned, accused of something I hadn't done. I wandered into town in a haze, then drifted on to Chicago, where I lived like an animal, stealing food, sleeping under bridges, doing whatever I had to do to stay alive. Eventually, I found others like me, kids with nothing but rage and hunger. We became a crew. Together we stole, mugged couples, sold whatever we could get our hands on. Drinking numbed the hunger. Drugs numbed the pain. Violence gave us power in a world that had stripped us of everything. By 1961, I was hardened. I was 22 when I got into a bar fight. A man mouthed off, and without thinking, I smashed a bottle over his head. He dropped fast, bleeding heavily, and the cops came. Before I even realized what I'd done, I was arrested on the spot. Jail was worse than the streets. Inside, you either break or turn to stone. I turned to stone. I stopped trusting anyone. I carried a deep hatred for humanity itself, like the entire world had betrayed me. I lived day to day, angry and empty. By the time I got out, whatever part of me had once been innocent was gone. For a while, I went back to the old ways: crime, hustling, fighting. But eventually I got tired. I found work at a factory, rented a cheap apartment in Chicago. I didn't want friends, didn't want connections. Then I met Janice. She was in her 20s, no nonsense, tough as nails. She ran with some of my old crew, but was different from the others, sharper, more grounded. Somehow we fell into a relationship. It was fiery, passionate. For the first time in years, I felt alive. I told her my story, the betrayal, the lies, and instead of recoiling, she leaned closer. She told me she believed me. She said I deserved better. For a while, life almost felt normal. Then came the letter. One day, I opened the mailbox and found an envelope in my mother's handwriting. My hands shook as I tore it open. Inside was a long letter filled with apologies. She said the truth had finally come out. Isabella had been secretly involved with David all those years ago, and together they concocted the lies that destroyed my life. They wanted me gone, and it had worked. The letter said they wanted to make amends, even pay me for the damage done. David, now married to Isabella, wanted to apologize in person. Walter had died of cancer a few years back. Reading that letter felt like someone had poured ice water into my veins. I showed it to Janice and my crew. We sat around, talking, drinking, debating. Finally, I made my choice. I sent a reply naming a time and place, an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. When the day came, I didn't think they'd show, but they did. My mother waited outside while David, Isabella, and my brothers nervously walked in. I stepped inside with Janice and two of my crew, locked the door behind me. The tension was thick. My brother's eyes darted. David looked pale. Isabella trembled. Without a word, I lunged at Charles, the same brother who had once defended me but later cast me out. I beat him viciously, every punch fueled by years of rage. Bloodied and broken, he collapsed to the ground. The others panicked, but my crew blocked the doors. Then they turned on David. The beating was brutal, Isabella's screams echoing off the walls. When it was over, one of my men handed me a gun, leveled it at Isabella. She collapsed to her knees, sobbing, begging, tears streaming down her face. I told her she had killed me long ago, that there was no forgiveness, no going back. I pulled the trigger. Click. Empty chamber. I crouched down, inches from her face, and whispered, "This is how it felt when you threw my life away. Salt." Then I stood, spat on the floor, and walked out. My last words to my mother were cold and final: never contact me again or it will end worse. We went to a bar that night, drank like it was just another day. But the truth, I never found peace in it. My heart stayed dark. My soul stayed empty. The violence didn't heal me. It hollowed me out even more. I kept sliding back into crime until I was arrested again. This time the sentence was long. By the time I got out, it was the early 1980s. Janice was gone. My choices had driven her away, but slowly I started to rebuild. I left the criminal world behind. I found steady work in construction, kept my head down. I wanted nothing to do with friends, relationships, love. I thought I was finished, and then I met Camilla. She was in her 30s, warm but strong. Against all odds, I let myself fall again. We married, and in 1989, our son Peter was born. Peter saved me. He grew into a fine man, studied electrical engineering, moved to New York, built a life. He married Emma, and together they've given me two beautiful granddaughters, Carla and Maria. Becoming a grandfather has been the greatest joy of my life. When those little girls visit, when I hear their laughter, it feels like proof that maybe, just maybe, the cycle can end. But I won't lie, the scars remain. The betrayal of my family, the years lost to hate and crime, they never left me. I can't undo what I did, or the man I became. If you take anything from this, let it be this. Violence never gave me peace. Hatred didn't heal me. It only dragged me deeper into the dark. If I have any redemption, it's in my son and my granddaughters. That's all that matters now. Thanks for reading.